For centuries, the towering blue giants known as the engineers were shrouded in myth. Ancient murals, cryptic symbols, and forgotten legends all pointed to them as the creators of humanity, a species molded in their image. They were revered as gods, the bringers of life to the cold void of the cosmos. But this was the grand deception. Beneath their godlike facade lay a terrible truth. The engineers were not creators, but the ultimate, final evolution of the alien. Long ago, they had shed their monstrous, xenomorphic forms, transforming into beings of serene beauty and immense power. However, this evolution had not tamed their hunger, it had merely refined it. To these beings, humanity was not a product of divine creation, but a carefully bred food source. The engineers despised humans not out of moral judgment or divine anger, but out of instinct. To them, humans were livestock, grown and nurtured across the galaxy for one purpose: to be consumed. In their evolution, the engineers had developed a craving, a need for sustenance that only human life could provide. They had visited countless worlds, planting the seeds of human civilization, watching as their food multiplied and spread. But humanity had become defiant. The engineers had planned for humans to remain simple and unaware, docile in their cosmic pastures. Yet humans had grown too intelligent, too independent. They built cities, discovered technology, and eventually learned to reach for the stars themselves. What was once an easily controlled source of sustenance now threatened to become a predator in its own right. The engineers' hatred grew as they watched humanity's defiance. They began to cultivate a new weapon: the black viscous substance that spawned the Xenomorphs. The engineers had created this horror to remind themselves of what they once were: pure, perfect predators. It was a message to humanity. You are not gods, and your rise is not divine. You are meat, and your existence is fleeting. When the explorers first stumbled upon the engineers' temples and ships, they believed they had found the cradle of humanity's creation. Instead, they had found the slaughterhouse. In the dark depths of the engineer's ship, the explorers discovered murals depicting a grim cycle, the engineers seeding worlds with human life, waiting centuries, then returning to harvest what was rightfully theirs. As they fled, their minds reeled with the horrifying revelation. The engineers were not gods or benevolent creators, they were predators, and humanity was their prey. The age of man was never meant to culminate in glory or enlightenment. It was always destined for the table of the engineers. Now, the engineers watched from the shadows of distant stars, their patience wearing thin. Humanity had grown too bold, venturing into the engineers' domain. It was time for the harvest. The ultimate predators had returned, and they hungered not just for flesh, but for the satisfaction of putting an end to their disobedient food source. The engineers were not the creators of humanity. They were its end, the final evolution of the alien, returning to feast on the civilization they had let grow fat and arrogant in the cold reaches of the cosmos.